So I'll get this feeling, right?
Yep.
And then I got to drop it down.
Just let it fall down just a little more, and there we go. Now, oh baby.
Hello.
Today we're going to be talking about the secret ingredient that will help you all hit your driver farther, straighter, and more solidly. And it's actually something that many of the best players in the world use, including Brooks Koepka.
All right, should I hit one, Milo, just to show him?
Let's hit one for him.
Got this high tee here. Perfect for this feel, actually.
And they'll understand what the feel is here in a minute.
Yep. Nice little low cut. I'll take that.
That's the typical Henry fall ball right there, just a little bleeder.
That fits in perfectly with that feel, so stick around.
I want to welcome you all back to beautiful Superstition Mountain, back out here with Henry Fall, and we want to walk you through this concept. It's a feel, it's a drill that I've seen many of the best players in the world use, and what this feel does for you is it helps you learn to make the golf club work around you a little more efficiently. One of the problems we see from players at home is that the club kind of gets all over the place. A lot of times up and out on the backswing, and then back over on the downswing.
Especially with driver.
Especially, driver's like the magnifying glass that really shines the light on this.
That's a good way of putting it.
So maybe you at home struggle with your driver. You struggle with maybe a slice. Maybe you've popped one up, you hit the ground.
That's the worst.
You got the old drop kick where you tilt away and you dump the club in the ground and skip into the ball. If that's you, you might have big pushes and hooks. You know, you got all different kinds of things going on. What that tells us is that your golf club is not making a nice clean orbit around you. Your golf club's doing some funky stuff. Yeah, so there's some funky stuff.
Yep.
So what we're gonna teach you is a drill that will help you get this golf club orbiting you in a little bit more simple manner, kind of like a hitter in baseball.
Yes.
You wouldn't want to see a hitter in baseball with their bat doing all kinds of funky loops and stuff.
Definitely not.
It might start standing up, but it's going to lay down into the right arc and then work around their body.
Yeah, baseball's perfect as an analogy. And I'll throw up a hitter for you guys, because as that pitch is coming in, you know, it's dropping in, it's on a slight incline.
Yep.
Right? Now, my question to you at home, though, is the baseball player really like adjusting their body dramatically for that baseball? Not really. It's a subtle change. But they are getting that bat in the zone early, so then they can turn through.
Yes.
But that bat is staying on plane for a fairly long period of time. It's in that arc.
Yep.
So we like to think of driver in a similar fashion.
So we want to get our golf club kind of into its arc.
Yes.
And staying in its arc for kind of a long way around the corner here. So what's a simple drill that we can use to learn that feeling?
So perfect one I really like, and Brooks Koepka's talked about it, is to hit balls or just make some air swings with the ball above your feet.
Yes.
I just have my own routine that I do. Probably spend the first hour just kind of hitting balls, just kind of getting loose, doing my own thing. And then there I go work on my swing stuff. I get on a little side slope and do what work on my mechanics of get in the right spot. And then
what does practicing on a side slope do for your swing?
Just for me, for my swing, I just ball above the feet. It gets my backswing in the correct position where I can lock it down and really try to feel like I have to hold it off where my body's got to keep moving.
Why? Because it tends to get up.
Yeah, if it just gets too upright, you just want to flatten it a little bit.
Right, because you're hitting it up here now. It's almost like a big.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then just making sure the only way that ball can go straight is if I actually turn through the golf ball.
Right. Well, because the tendency, am I understanding the tendency is kind of that, but turning through is what forces that club.
Exactly, pretty much. I just feel sometimes that left shoulder gets a bit high and I can get under as far as, trying to feel like my chest really rotates towards that target.
Right, yeah, turn and burn.
So Henry, I'm going to show you what I want you to do. And for those of you at home watching, you can see Henry and I are pretty close to the same height.
Not anymore.
This is a very severe slope. So if I was swinging my driver off of this slope, the ball's going to be almost knee high.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty high ball.
It's extreme.
Yes. But this extreme setup, what it's going to do for me is it's going to teach me what it feels like to make the club work around more. Because if I do something where I drop the club under, the ground's in the way, or if I'm over it, the ground's in the way again. So now I need to learn to feel that club orbit around me.
And what I noticed too is that you're not even hitting the ground. You might be sweeping the grass.
Sure, I could hit balls right off of a tee right there, no problem.
Yeah. What's kind of interesting though is I'm watching you. I see the grass moving just a bit back here, and I also see it moving just a bit over here. So that tells me your driver's pretty flat to this earth
Yeah, it's
for
traveling.
a good yard or so.
It's not
Yeah.
going down and up. It's just swinging on a nice shallow arc around me.
So would you say there's a misconception out there with driver that maybe people are trying to really hit up on it, or maybe they're kind of new to golf and they're swinging really down on it, they're hitting the ground early and they get those pop flies or those slices. You can see a lot of slices with that pattern.
Yeah, I think one of the big misconceptions I see is that you need to hit really up on your driver, because what that creates is improper ways of hitting up on the driver. We do want to hit up on the driver some.
Yeah.
Depending on how fast you are, you might want to hit up on it a lot. But you don't want to tilt back to try to do it.
Yeah.
We're going to still feel this swing working more or less what feels level around our body. The only reason we catch it on the upswing is where the ball's at in the stance.
Yeah.
The ball's a little forward, so our low point happens somewhere slightly behind the ball.
Gotcha.
So Henry, I want you to jump in here and feel that.
Okay. Wow, that is really above my feet.
Yeah, for once, I'm finally tall.
It's so funny though, because I've done this drill a zillion times with students. And honestly, it's got a lot of benefits. I remember a junior golfer I taught up at Sugarloaf in Maine, where I formerly worked. This was like 7 years ago. And this kid, he jumped and early extended more than any of you did at home. I promise you. He was like,
He was a world
"Woo!"
record setter?
Oh, it was unbelievable. But I had him swing off a slope. And the first few times, he was digging the earth. It was so funny.
Drop kick, bounce into the ball.
But he started to understand, okay, it is a little bit like baseball. The club is working around us a little more. He started to understand the radius a little bit. We talk about the radius control. And for the rest of the school, he started out driving all the other kids. And he started hitting driver really, really well. So he stopped jumping up to the moon. And this drill really, really helped him. So it's one I've used a bunch. And we use it at golf school sometimes with people that really struggle with driver.
Well, if you're a slicer, this is a great place to start because
Right, you can't
can't come
get out
over it.
over. You'll hit the ground. So, and one analogy I like that you use is talking about like if you had a telephone pole in your hands, because driver, you're really stepping up in length from a wedge to a driver.
it's a big difference.
So we still want to turn in bends, but you got to understand this driver being so long, it is kind of like you have a totem pole. And if the totem pole was down here, well, it wouldn't go in the ground. So you got to have that feeling a little bit more.
Your arms are going to elevate up a little bit so that they can go around you a little better.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So it is a little bit flatter. We have to understand that. And it's really going to help you guys hit driver more solidly and consistently. We can't hit the ground. That is like the biggest no-no with driver. Can't hit the ground.
Perfect. So now that we understand that we can make some swings on this slope, how can we transfer these feels into something a little closer to golf? I got an idea. Let's go back up.
Okay.
Okay, so we're back on the mat where we're going to hit, Henry. The way I want you at home to start feeling how to transfer from a ball above your feet to a ball on a tee to hit your driver is maybe we start with some practice swings above this ball.
Ooh, I like it. So very much baseball swing. So
Yeah.
here I am normal, let's say, on the ground.
So imagine this ball is twice that high. It's right there. There you go. And just swing above it. And the club's going around you. Beautiful. Okay.
So funny when I have people first time do this drill, they go like this. And they just hit it. They're like, what did I do? Because they can't understand the concept of keeping that radius, keeping that height of the driver. So this is why, like, I like to imagine like if that ball was there again, it's like there's a pane of glass under that. So I know Hogan talked about this pane of
Uh-huh.
glass. I'm looking at it like there's glass right here. And if I hit that glass, I'm falling, right? So I got to keep that driver above that glass.
Okay, let's
Right.
see one more. Let's stay above it.
Yeah, so right now there's glass between my driver and the ball, and I can't bust through that glass. I got to keep that driver above it, right? So
Yep.
it's like almost like a table there. So that's the feeling.
The way I like to progress through this is we start with the club swinging, you know, some 2-3 inches above it, gradually lower it, and then clip one where you hit it on the bottom of the golf club
What, you're gonna
on
make,
purpose.
You're gonna make me top it like those. They have those challenges going on tour now. I saw Rory hit one like a couple of yards.
So you can top it the shortest.
That was pretty good actually.
Yeah, you topped it. You nearly poked my eye out with the tee.
Look at that. So I got right on the bottom of that club.
Yep. Okay, so now your radius, you're gaining control over that
Oh, yeah.
radius. Okay, so now you can lower it just a little more and hit it in the face.
So I'll get this feeling, right?
Yep.
And then I got to drop it down.
Just
to
let
the
it fall
ball.
down just a little more, and there we go. Now, those of you at home, hopefully you can see that golf ball flying. It was
A little low bullet.
a little low, straight laser beam.
And that's honestly the drill I like to warm up with. For you and I, you know, we hit it pretty far. So there's a lot of ranges, in all honesty, we can't hit driver full. There's a lot of ranges are only maybe, 280, 300 yards long. So for us hitting little bunters like that, we call them, it's on, even if I was at a full range where I could let it go, I'm gonna hit a lot of those shots.
Yep.
Because it gets me really good control of the club face. I feel very stable, and I'm getting the radius I want, so I know, okay, am I hitting a little heel side? Am I hitting a little toe side? Low, high? I know, and then I can progress through that slowly until it feels matched up.
Perfect.
That's my go-to drill right there, is that feeling. I don't necessarily go to a hill and hit balls above my feet. But that's the feeling.
I do the same thing. I call it my ladder drill. I ladder myself to speed every time I want to go play, because I'm getting older. I can't just go straight to full speed. It hurts.
Yeah.
It takes me a minute.
Another one I like to do, Milo, is hit driver off the deck, and I challenge some students to do this. It's a really hard drill, but it's great practice. You might thin it, you might top it, you might chunk it at first. But if you can start to get it without getting excessively down or trying to help it in the air, you start to understand how to get that nice flat bottom like we want.
Yeah, the best players in the world can hit their drivers off the deck. I see them do it in PGA Tour events with money on the line.
Big time.
So, you know, it's a skill.
You know who's really good at this is Brooke Henderson on the LPGA Tour, who we've played with before, and she can hit 250 in the air probably off the deck. It's crazy.
Well, let's see if you can do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
my.
baby.
Hello.
I don't think Brooks got that one.
That was pretty good. That was a little. That almost got to the other side. That was a little laser beam.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't feel anything different. That's the important part. Is that whether that I have that really high tee or I have it off the deck, the feeling is the same. I just adjust my plane through a little bit of setup.
Exactly.
And even the ball position stayed relatively the same.
You didn't move it
somewhat
farther
up
back
here.
because it was on the ground.
Right.
You just change how
Yep.
we can mess with our height. If this club was 40 feet long, I'd have to stand like this. I couldn't stand like this.
Yeah.
Okay, Henry. So before you hit this one, I want you to walk them through the entire process. Maybe even including a little pre-shot routine, how you can learn to incorporate these concepts into their motion.
Okay. So yeah, I'd kind of step up in here. Number one, we get that ball position pretty far forward. Driver's going to be more like left shoulder-ish.
Yep.
Past the shirt logo probably. But I'm going to get this feeling of, here I am if I'm normal. I like to hover the driver a little bit. That could also be something you guys do at home. Just so you have to understand when you have driver off the ground here, in the swing, if I go up, the driver tends to want to go out too. So that can compromise your strike. So yeah, so that's why I like to kind of hover it for the most part.
Yep.
especially if I have a high tee like that.
So you're already presetting that radius a little bit.
Yeah,
You're not having to
yeah.
make some kind of a compensation mid-swing.
Right, so like down the line, you guys can see if that's about center more or less from the ground. Well, if I raise that up, it's actually on the heel.
Yep.
So that can be something to consider. But anyways, I like to kind of feel like I'm hovering. So now I'm gonna get that driver up, but I'm not just doing it with my hands. I'm not standing up like this. I'm kind of, everything's sort of together. So I kind of get up here, make those sort of baseball feeling swings. Doesn't even have to be full, just getting that arc where I want it. And then I have that feeling and I can walk in. And now I have that radius the way I want where I can just sweep it right off the top. Pretty solid right there.
Yeah, that was very good. I like when you hit it that straight.
Yeah, take that every day.
Well, Henry, those were some really good demonstrations. You hit some really good shots for us today. And I really like some of the experiences and stories from seeing some of the players that you've been around. So hopefully you at home can take away some things that are really going to help you with your driving from this video. And if you did, please hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps us out. And come visit us at milolinesgolf.com, where we can really help you to learn how to swing more like an athlete.